So I know sometimes you get this discouraged. You think maybe you have got a problem because you read and then things don't seem to make sense and you're forgetting. Generally, med school has got a lot of things that have to be done. It's really a lot and it's overwhelming. So don't limit yourself and think yourself low simply because you're forgetting. I'll use for you even scripture in Proverbs 19, verse 8. Do yourself a favor by learning all you can. Then remember what you learn and you prosper. It is about learning. So, what are we trying to say? Pay attention to your teacher and learn all you can. That is scripture saying so. But in the procedure of paying attention to your teacher to learn all you can, there are a lot of setbacks that are going to pull you back. And scripture is saying, do yourself a favor by learning all you can. It is doing yourself a favor, and this favor is going to pain. You read today, you forget. Read tomorrow, you forget. Read the other day, you forget. I'll tell you, I go through a concept over a month, one concept. I remember I was going in the anatomy. That was term three. I was still studying epithelial cells. Okay. But then struggle is there just like everyone else. Going through a concept again and again. One thing that I know is and I keep telling myself is my brain can't forget because it is the mind of Christ. So if you have got a time to study, you forget, don't limit yourself simply because you've forgotten and end up saying negative word against yourself. You are not the only one who might be going through that. And actually, maybe for you, you are even remembering some things. Some it's still bad. So they came and we chat. We had to chat, and gladly one came and said, "Ah, the method you showed me of how best to study is really, really working. I've seen that I'm retaining a lot of information." So that is one important thing. How do you study? So if your method of study is right, you are going to find out even your pace is going to be a bit faster than the pace you always move at. I always tell people time is there and there is no much to study. So if it seems as though time isn't there and there is too much to study, then you are either using a wrong approach to study or you are studying wrong things. So at this point, it's not everything that you're paying attention. There are specific things that you have to know. And that is why advice from seniors is always very, very necessary. Besides that, there is always an effective way to study. And so always seek advice. In case you want to talk even in person, be free to come. Okay? At least that one I've made it open. I've allowed people to come and we even if the schedule is really busy, but for that one I'll spare an hour for us to talk. We are here to help each other stand stronger, right? Limit yourself. You have got great, great, great capacity within you to do so much, much great. And I know you have got that great capacity. And one thing that I know, in case you don't know for yourself, is you can't fail. There is no way you can fail. We go on practice, practice, and practice. And then at the end of it all, it's gonna make sense. Is that good? Does that at least help? Okay. I'm going to tell you it's big. So as always, time is enough, huh? Time is enough. I'll tell you for me is I don't study at night. I study in the afternoon. But let me tell you my afternoon. My afternoon is normally morning. I've got either labs or classes. Then most of the day I'm preparing lessons because I have to teach health science students, medical students, natural science students, and that will be now like 18. And every day I've got from 18 to somewhere 20 hours my prayer session. From 20 hours up to 23 I'm teaching. At 24 I need to sleep. It is the other day. So what time am I studying? So this is just telling you that you can do it even. So there are some things that seem to take us busy. Those things you have to put them off. Our lives are actually never busy, but we have entangled ourselves with a lot of useless things that seem as though they are taking our time. Some of you have got capacity. Maybe you have got friends, you stay with friends, or you are at home. You can save yourself a lot from just sparing a little time from doing some bit of unnecessary things. That movie that you want to watch, a bit throw it away and watch it later. If you have got capacity, even those clothes you want to be washing, a bit, and you have got money, why not invite that man who needs that 20 kwacha? You give them that 20 kwacha and then you spare that 20 minutes or 1 hour that would have been washing to study. So all those are some things that you can put in. So there's many unnecessary things that make us seem as though we are really busy. We aren't busy. So just make sure that you cut them off so you can really manage your day well and you progress in that way. And many times what makes us seem as though we are busy and as though the day is small is we pay attention to what doesn't matter. There are a lot of useless things around that we are really paying attention to. If your schedule is study, pray, or let's say serve whoever your God is, your schedule is study, pray, attend class, do labs, cook for myself, eat. You will really manage everything within the time period that you have. Unless there are extra other things that you've entangled yourselves in, it will make you look as though time is really small. Do does that answer? Theology, make sure you do. I'm planning of just holding a class with you people just to talk to you about how generally you should handle each course. Either I make a class or I might pass by your lecture theater. We just make sure that we talk about these things. It's very necessary for just each course. But for physiology generally is, you know, for me I love courses like physiology than courses like anatomy because physiology is a matter of understanding. You want to understand what's happening. If you understand what's happening, for me it's way easy to answer a question than mastering names. Okay, say for example you tell me describe for me about the formation of hydrochloric acid. How is hydrochloric acid going to be formed? I don't need to go to a book for me to describe for you that, even when I read it time back. Why? Because I know what is happening and I try to understand how steps are moving. So things that have to do with steps, try to follow the steps stepwise. Okay, a parietal cell has got two faces. It is facing the lumen, that is the luminal side, and then it has got the side that is facing the blood vessels. The side that is facing the lumen, that is where hydrogen is going to be coming from. Because hydrogen is positive, you are removing hydrogen and then you are pumping in a positive proton, potassium. What is balancing that potassium? Okay, we have got the sodium potassium pump. How about chlorine? Now is it coming in? Okay, chlorine is coming from the blood over the other side of the cell. And because it's negative, is entering the cell, it's being changed by something that is also negative, a bicarbonate. And then it is now moving from the cell via a chloride pump into the lumen, and there they react. But where is the bicarbonate we are exchanging with chlorine coming from? Okay, in the cell we have got water and carbon dioxide. These two will react to form carbonic acid, which will further break bicarbonic anhydrase to form hydrogen ions and bicarbonate. So it's the hydrogen that we are pumping out, and the hydrogen, the bicarbonate that we're also pumping out with chlorine. So this is a mechanism. Because it's a mechanism, for me it is way easy to explain a mechanism than what is this thing you are trying to master. So that is why physiology is way better, because you are trying to understand how things are moving stepwise, and like that it is way easy. What is going to cause the production of this acid? Okay, this acid, what will happen is that when you have got food in your stomach, or you are just smelling food, or you are just thinking about food, or you just taste food, that is going to stimulate our nervous system. And there are different things that can stimulate nerves. Okay, there are different factors that can stimulate the production of acid. Acetylcholine from the nerve endings, especially for the vagus, can directly stimulate the production of hydrochloric acid. Or gastrin can stimulate the production of hydrochloric acid by attaching on the parietal cells. Gastrin can as well be stimulated by other cells to go and stimulate, to secrete. Gastrin comes from G cells. So G cells can as well be stimulated by other things to produce gastrin, which is going to go and stimulate the production of hydrochloric acid. So how about someone who has got peptic ulcers? Okay, peptic ulcers is there is overproduction of hydrochloric acid. So how can I help them? We want to stop the production of hydrochloric acid. So we should stop the proton pump, which pumps protons into the lumen. Okay, so a simple drug we can give is omeprazole, which will stop the proton pump. So you understand steps like that. Okay, I know a parietal cell, besides producing hydrochloric acid, produces intrinsic factor. If I've got gastric atrophy, my stomach cells are not okay. What is going to happen? I can't produce intrinsic factor. What will be the cause? Intrinsic factor helps in the absorption of vitamin B12 in the terminal ileum. So if I've got gastric atrophy, or let's say I had a surgery where the terminal ileum was removed, the thing is I can't absorb vitamin B12. And what's the reason? Vitamin B12 is necessary in making DNA and RNA, and that is necessary in making of proteins, and necessary in the making of red blood cells. So if I can't absorb them in these two conditions, the removal of the terminal ileum or gastric atrophy, what is going to happen is I'm going to have little red blood cells being produced, and that is known as anemia, specifically pernicious anemia. So you are understanding the steps like that, and it is going to be way easy for you to answer a question because you understand stepwise. That is why I always advise know something stepwise than mastering a step. For me, I don't mind if something takes me a month to understand how systematically it's moving. That is how courses like pharmacology, pathology, physiology end up being way simple. Why? Because they are courses that involve steps. And that's why I found also neurosciences to be easy, because it is step by step by step. And that's the good news with also anatomy. The anatomy that we have now, it is less of the mastering and more of the knowing of what's happening. So try to understand, revolve around the concept and understand what's happening other than trying to master one concept alone. It will really confuse you. All right. Understanding a concept alone is going to really confuse you. Try to understand everything all together and connect the dots. In that way, you barely forget. I want you to understand when it comes to the DR tests. So you want to understand theory, and then when you know that theory, now you want to apply it to a picture. So that is what they try to bring out of you. If you understand the theory, they now give you a picture to bring it out. There are questions that we came across to, we've never seen a picture, but we managed to answer them because we knew the theory. For example, I remember in my practical DR, they brought someone who had caput medusa. and I've never seen a picture. But then the thing is that I know my abdomen. I know the blood vessels that supply the abdomen, and I know how they connect other way. So if one way is blocked, a condition arises. And just those things, they now bring a picture for you to apply. You've never seen a picture, but you know that if a blood vessel here is blocked, for example, if you talk about a testicular vein, the right testicular vein drains in the right renal vein, while the left testicular vein drains direct into the abdominal aorta. Sorry, in the inferior vena cava. So because this guy is the right one is going straight and is draining at 90 degrees, blood can actually flow from the renal vein down into the testicular vein, and that causes what they call varices. So a picture can come on that, but because you understand the theory, it is going to be way easy for you to approach that kind of question. So generally, that is when it comes to